welcome back. As mentioned previously in episode 4, this is a two-part episode. If you haven't already, please go back and listen to part 1 as part 2 starts now. I hope you enjoy.
It's such a big thing with older people. Oh, come give your auntie a hug.
Give me a hug and a kiss, and just
you can
grabbing
see the kid
them, and the
is
kid is like, I don't want to. And
why? Why are you forcing yourself on a child when you can see that they're visibly uncomfortable? Yeah. And B, if he says I don't want to, why are you getting mad? You think the kiss is gonna make your life better? Yeah. Get over it.
And that thing is like, do the work to make him comfortable enough to want to be around you or hug you.
But also, just learn to accept it now.
Yeah.
Because if you approach a grown person and said, "Oh, can I have a hug?" and I'm just not feeling it today.
I've done that before with adults. Can I have a hug? No.
No, exactly. No. But do they question you?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, no, I don't want to hug you."
And that's that. It's not. Come on. No. So kids should have that same right and allowance to have some autonomy over their bodies.
Yes. Like, and I do. I make sure, like Aiden and I, from the time that he was younger, he has ADHD, right? Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of issues when he was younger with he would go from 0 to 100. Mm-hmm. He didn't know how to regulate his emotions or what they were, where they were coming from. So I've always taught him like breathing exercises. When he was younger, we used to do the blowing on your fingers, each individual finger, to calm him down. And with time, though, as he's gotten older, he knows how to regulate his emotions. But 9 times out of 10, if he's upset, he goes to his room.
Removes himself.
He removes himself. He sits in there for a little bit. And then he comes out and he says, "Mommy, I'm ready to talk."
You know how mature that is?
Yeah.
There's grown people I know who have a hard time doing that. Stepping away from the situation because I'm flooded with, this is what my therapist has taught me. When you're feeling flooded with emotion, step away from the situation. Calm down.
But when you're a kid, parents don't let you.
No.
They don't let you leave. Come talk now.
Talk to your sister now.
Sit down now.
Talk about it now.
Apologize now. Do this now. I don't force him to do that stuff. I'm just like, take the time. And then when he has done something wrong, we talk about what he did wrong, why it was wrong, what other options do you think you had? And I ask him questions. Mm-hmm. What do you think you could have done better? Would you want someone else to do this to you? Mm-hmm. I break it down to him to the point where it's like, I want you to understand why you're wrong. Why this was hurtful.
Because I said so.
Yeah. Not just because some adult said you did the wrong thing. Like, let's really talk about this. And I find like now, he's like, he tells me all the time, his friends are always like, "Aiden, we need a pep talk," or "Aiden, we need a," like, he's
not
always
him being the adult of the group.
Yeah, he's the adult. He's always like the peacekeeper. He's always like, let's
rational
talk about this
mind.
stuff. Yeah.
Do you know how important and valuable that is? Because
that's all
he's in grade what? 5?
6.
That going into high school with those kind of skills, when people are trying to mess with you, he's gonna be able to be like, "You're tripping. I'm going over here."
Yeah, you take a time out. And what I really like is that I don't want him to be like the type of man who has a savior complex because their mothers were like overly dependent on them to take care of their emotional needs and all that stuff. Like, my thing with Aiden is, we're in a generation now, women are able to work, men are able to work. There's no, I need to take care of you. No, it's now we're a team. Mm-hmm. You need to be someone's partner. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be the man of the house or calling the shots. I want him to be able to communicate with me and with people. I want him to understand his emotions. I don't want him to be the type of man that a woman has to go to therapy for. Okay? We don't want that. I don't want that.
I just feel like the example of what we see the millennial parents are trying to do today in comparison to the small differences that if our parents did, we wouldn't need as much therapy as we need now.
Yeah.
Like
because we needed the awareness in therapy too.
Yeah.
That's what I needed first was, wow, my patterns, how I behave, how I react, how I speak, all of these things came from my environment. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even notice it.
And you never really understand like how you respond to anger, how you respond to frustrating or difficult situations.
Or someone saying something to you that you don't like, and it's like, it's not the freaking end of the world.
But being in an environment where every time something was a difficult or problematic situation, and it was a screaming match, or they wagged your finger at you and just berated you, but didn't really give you like you said, examples as of how you could have done it better.
Mhm.
Or I remember one time I was a kid, and I was a good kid, okay? Like,
Yeah.
not great grades, but I was like in the line. Graded wasn't crossing the line.
Yeah.
And the
Because
one,
you knew where that line was.
yeah. And so one time, peer pressure got the best of me because I had little confidence because I wanted to be accepted.
Mhm.
And a girl talked me into doing something I knew in my gut I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
I did it, and I got in trouble. And I remember my mom, and I you know, she and I have had many talks, so it is what it is. She understands where I'm coming from. My mom, I remember, instead of her yelling at me, which is what I was almost prepared for, I was terrified of what the response was going to be. She did the, I'm gonna tell you I'm disappointed and not say nothing, and then have the friends come over and then tell you that they're disappointed.
God.
I remember our neighbor came over and was like, I'm so disappointed. I'm not you, Creed. And, you might think it's comical, and it was like a lesser blow.
People think it's cute. Aiden
it
has told me
actually-
not to do that. He's like, don't tell your friends like what I've done, because that I don't want to hear a lecture 4 or 5 times, even with his dad.
Huh?
He's just like, if I do something, he's like, talk to dad about it, and either you guys talk to me together, or just you, because like first I have to get the lecture at school, then I have to get the lecture from the principal,
and
then you have to.
As a child, he also probably berates himself.
Yeah, I already feel bad about it, and then I come home and you're making me feel bad about it.
And then you're talking about it with your friends?
And then you're talking about it with friends, and then this person's saying, oh, Aiden, I'm really disappointed. And then I'm going to my dad's 2 days or the weekend after, and then I have to hear it again. And he has communicated that with me, that please don't do that.
I almost, in that moment, I had almost wished he hit me instead.
Yeah.
Because
beat me.
I'm like, why? She told the neighbor, she told my aunt in England, and I was just like, because I was the good child.
Because you were the good child.
And it almost made me regret being the good child.
Yeah, I wish I did things worse more often.
Exactly. So I'm not saying that there is a perfect way to parent. I'm just saying, if she had been the only one to speak to me about that and had said I was disappointed, that in and of itself would have made me never do it again.
Yeah.
But to then make me feel embarrassed later, embarrassing your child, whether you meant to, whether it was intentional or not,
you gotta
doing the whole, telling everybody about what your child did as a form of gossip, and embarrassing me, it played a big role in again how I felt my mother felt about me, and how I interacted with the world. Exactly.
Aiden told me that, and I stopped doing it as soon as he pointed it out to me. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know it affected you that way. Like I talked to this person. This is my person. He's like, talk to them about other stuff, just not.
It's my business.
Me. Yeah.
And that's and as a kid, again, to be able to say, this is between you and me. You don't need to be shamed. If he was an adult and he said, if you and I had a disagreement and it was, let's have a conversation, just let's keep this issue between you and I, you would respect that. So why wouldn't you respect it if your child told you that? Now, when we were kids, we couldn't do that. But for the simple fact that he is capable and comfortable enough to say to you, Mom, please don't do that, and for you to give him that respect, that will, again, go a long way, because he set a boundary, and you choose not to disrespect it or ignore it.
Because I understand it. And I also understand, this is the other thing that I find when people are not parents. I have some friends who are not parents, that like, if Aiden's in a bad mood, or it's like, oh, I'm not going to go do that with him because he's not in a good mood, and people are like,
just tell him.
Just bring him. It doesn't matter. Listen, I am learning from my child that he is a human being. He has the same emotions and feelings and moods that I have. And just like I won't go to the mall if I'm not in the mood to go to the mall, I give him that respect as well. And as soon as he told me not to do that with talking to people, and I was like, you know what, you're right. That was wrong of me to do, and I apologize that it won't happen again. Hasn't happened again. Even if I tell his dad that something happened, I'm like, I already dealt with it.
I'm just letting you know.
I'm just letting you know this happened. You don't need to have another discussion with him. And he's also like, okay, fine, I won't talk to him about it. If it is a big deal, and I want to talk to him with his dad, we call his dad's on speaker when we talk. Because I figured, like, that's the best approach to take, because we live in separate houses. I don't want him to always feel like he's got to get the double lecture. He already has the double home, and the 2 sets of rules. And I didn't even realize until he got older, he was able to communicate these things, that there was a lot of things that bothered him about the back and the forth, and just like, he wanted more like dad and mom time. So like there's
Together?
just like us together and being more comfortable together. So I had to do a lot of work because one, I had to forgive his father for the stuff that I really wasn't ready to deal with.
To co-parent.
Yes, and I had to also accept the fact that this is the person I chose to have a child with.
Right.
This is like regardless.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like regardless of how I feel about the situation now, my son deserves to have two parents that love him, two parents that can sit down and have a conversation with him. So I'm so happy that I went to therapy because if it wasn't for that, I would have done what my parents did.
As a child who
gossip and lie about each other all the time.
Child who grew up in a single home with my mom and my dad, same thing. First of all, the simple fact that you're willing to realize the importance, parents and people are inherently selfish and self-centered.
We can't help it sometimes.
Right. And so as a parent, when you decide to take yourself out of the moment of this person hurt me and realize there's another relationship to not consider and I have to do whatever I need to do to make this relationship work positively for the benefit of that child. Do you know how difficult that is? My mom and my dad, they spoke like they were cool, but they never spoke. So while Aiden probably had like the you talk to him and then his dad talked to him, my dad didn't know shit about what I did. And sometimes I almost felt like you said, if my mom had called my dad and said, this is what your child did, and they had a conversation together with me, I would have felt bad, but I would have felt like my parents were involved. And and for Aiden to express that to you and for you to, again, step outside of what you feel you wanted, how you want to deal with him, and be like, I want to make sure Aiden feels cared for by both parents equally.
And loved and supported and also
seen. He
is seen and he's half his father. Exactly. So if I am sitting there and I am cursing this person and saying, I hate this person, he is half of his father. Like his blood is running through his veins. And like that self-hatred is going to be projected onto my kid. I don't ever want him to feel like he was made from love. There was a time where love was there, and I never wanted him to feel
I just had
that trauma.
Especially from a male perspective, eh? Like my mom used to be like, "Oh, your dad is this, your dad is that. He don't do, he didn't do, he should have done." And I hear it, and I got upset. And it probably it did mold how I looked at men. But as a young boy, to hear your mom berate your father, knowing. And then you're with your dad, separate situation, and you do something, and someone goes, "You're just like your dad." Are you scared of that now?
Yeah.
Because you hear your mom talk about how bad your dad is. Yeah. I never even thought of it from that perspective as a young boy. Yeah. Kids in general, but as a young boy, hearing your mom talk about your dad, and you knowing I'm like my dad in A, B, and C. Wait, does that make me automatically a bad person?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like as parents, even if it's boy or girl, your dad is your father.
Oh yeah. I have parts of him.
You have parts of him. You have personality traits from him that you have no control over. And I just find like if you look at the positives of that co-parent and you focus on the positives, like I really had to work on that. I had to focus on like the goal is for Aiden to have mom and dad.
And even if not everybody is healing like we're willing to be healed, fine. But take one moment to recognize talking bad about that other parent in front of your child is never positive.
It's never positive.
You affect their relationship no matter your intention. So even
if your kid loves both of their parents.
Exactly. Not because you don't love him anymore means your child shouldn't. So your child shouldn't have to hear all of the nay-nays that he did to you and you're talking to your friend about what he did to you. Keep that shit separate.
Yeah.
That's something.
And just know that was your choice. Okay? Even if bad things happen in that relationship, you chose to procreate with that person. You knew what you knew. And if you didn't know, be glad that you're not with that person. But realize that their ability to be a father and their ability to be a good partner
can be different.
That
is wild.
Yeah. Because let me tell you, like, his dad, they have a great relationship. He says his dad is his best friend. Someone said to me the other day, they're like, oh, like, when Aiden grows up, if he moves to his dad's, are you going to be upset?
Oh my God.
And I was like, no.
It's his parent.
That's his dad. I'll see him when he has time to see me. But here's the thing. I want him to have the same relationship and comfort and stability that he has with me with his father, and I want him to feel comfortable enough to leave me when he needs to. When he needs to be with his father, I don't want him to feel like, oh my God, I can't leave my mother. No, you're not doing a good job as a parent if your child does not have the confidence to spread their wings. You're not doing your job.
Child.
So, yeah.
It's wild because I just stepping out of myself now and looking back at how things said and the way things were done can truly affect the trajectory of the relationship with the child and their parent if just a few things were not said or were said instead of.
It does affect you because you're gonna, even if you're looking at that parent, that other parent that, like, let's just say it's a mom and dad and your mom just talks so much crap about your father, about all the bad things that he's done. Even if you love him, the person who takes care of you and provides for you is the mom. The person who puts the roof over your head is the mom. So whenever you're with the dad, it's hard for you to see the positive attributes. It's hard for you to see, oh, look, he's trying. Look, he's taking me here. And then, like, I've been around other mothers who have done that in front of their kids, family members, cousins of mine. You know who you are. Like, I have said to them, like, what you're doing right now is a detriment to your child. It is. Don't do that. You made the decision. Your child needs to love both of their parents, and they need to know that both of their parents love them. Unless the father is abusive and he's like really like beating the child and doing all kinds of unnecessary shit, go to the courts, get that stuff dealt with. I'm not saying that every person, should be doing that, but I'm saying if you were in a happy relationship with this person and the one reason why you're mad at them is because they left you, cheated on you, whatever, and you're no longer allowing them to be a parent, shame on you.
Oh, and what happens with those games is children.
You're only hurting one person.
Children feel the need to pledge allegiance to a parent.
Yeah, they have they can't help themselves
because you hear and you see or you listen to your parent talking about the other parent, and you're thinking, wow, this guy really sucks.
Yeah,
and so I have to. I have to have my mom's back because he did A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Not to you, though.
Not to you.
If he did things to you, fair. Have your feelings about how that parent treated you.
Yeah.
But if you're pledging allegiance because of what your mom is talking about with her friends about how he treated her, and now you're changing your relationship because of that, A, parents, don't do that.
Don't do it.
And B, as a child, remove yourself from that portion of the mother-father relationship because it has nothing to do with you. You should not be put in a position where you need to pledge allegiance to a parent, and it shouldn't be indicative on how much love you get from either parent, how much
the roof over your head, or I did everything for you. Forget this person. They didn't pay child support. No. They didn't do this. Like, stop. Because the love, as long as that father is loving and they're doing their best and they're showing up for the kids need the love more than they need the money. The money is helpful, but they need the person to show up. They need to go and see their dad, spend time with their dad, whether their dad has a girlfriend or not. You got to let your kids be with both of their parents because they're walking around with that stuff and it's not healthy.
And they should be allowed. They should be allowed. Leave the space for the child to feel comfortable loving their parent in spite of what that person did to you. Good,
bad, yeah.
Because as a child, we see things, we hear things, we understand things, and eventually that child will become an adult and they will form their own opinion. Yes. Do not spend so much time berating that other person that you have now formed that child's opinion of their parent for them before they've had a chance to truly experience who this person is all encompassing and make their own judgment call. Because we will.
Yeah, we will. And the thing is, the co-parenting, it doesn't end when your children get older. They get married. They have other children with their partners. And the one thing that they will not want is two bickering grandparents at Christmas dinner. Okay? They don't want that.
Wouldn't it be so lovely if when Aiden has his wife and his two kids and he says, Mom, I want to have a whole house together.
Yeah. And I want to have my dad and his wife. And I want to have... That is what... my goal...
That's what it should be about.
That's my goal.
That's what every parent today should be.
Heck, like, if Simon and I can co-parent our grandchildren.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to ever have that moment where my son is going through the invite list, like,
who can I Should I talk to my mom about this first?
Should I tell my mom? Should
You
I
just
ask
make
my dad?
life so much more difficult.
Can I invite my dad and his girlfriend? Can I invite my dad and his wife? I don't want my son to have that. I just want him to be like, everybody come. I want my whole family.
And don't you, as a parent, a part of the co-parenting, feel like it's not perfect, but it's a lot easier than if it was me constantly pushing against everything he did?
Literally, it's
why would
easier.
you make?
I'm telling you right now, the drama that we had early on when we first went our separate ways. Luckily, thank God, Aiden was young. He hardly remembers that. We got it together by the time he was like 6 or 7. I think we got it together, but we separated when he was like 3. So that was like the most stressful thing. But it was always push and pull all the time. Like, and I really could not stand him. Like, I really could not. No offense if you're listening. I just even like, he triggered me. Everything he did and said to me triggered me. And then once I started going to therapy, I really had to dig deep of like where that's coming from and what I didn't want for my kid and how I wanted him to feel that security and love from both of his parents. I want him to have that confidence, to have a good relationship with both of us.
And now because of those pushing through the hard parts, not being stubborn and doubling down on why you don't like this person. Sure, don't like them outside of the parent.
But here's the thing.
It's Alexa. It was Alexa.
Alexa, stop being weird.
Oh my God, my whole train of thought.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I was basically the fact that you are willing to acknowledge the problematic situation and step past that. It makes your life so much easier today.
Makes it so easier.
Okay, I get it.
I feel more peace too. And this is the thing. The relationship didn't work. I'm not in that relationship. Like,
you're not bound by those things
I'm not bound by
anymore.
that relationship anymore. That wasn't my person, my long-term person. We got our beautiful son from that relationship. I'm grateful to God, universe, whatever. But me, the ultimate piece is I'm not in that. So why am I fighting with this person? Why am I allowing myself to fight with this person?
Give them so much energy. I want to say I understand that there aren't, for some co-parenting situations, it'll take longer to get to where you get to, if ever, and some people aren't going to be as willing to just see the bigger picture.
Yeah,
we understand
it takes a while,
but
you have to dig.
But I feel like also if one parent out of the two is willing to kind of step back, then the other parent almost has to eventually just let it go.
Isn't that Michelle Obama said that? Like,
when they go home,
when they go high, when they go low, you go high. They're gonna have to eventually meet you where you're at. Like, if they want to get to you, they're gonna have to tone it down, tone the drama down. So,
unless they're crazy and they end up, unless they're crazy and they try to kill you, and then in that case, we'll see you on Netflix in a true crime doc. I pray that doesn't happen to people, but there are crazy people out there.
Yeah, I think all co-parenting situations are different. Listen, if the man is like stalking you and psycho and coming into your house when you're sleeping at night, like, go to court for that. I don't know, but
call the popo.
Call the popo out.
No. Honestly, I think as children and the trauma we experienced, this went straight to
it went
left.
Oh yeah,
I just realized that. I'm like, what were we talking about before?
But no, co-parenting. This is all trauma related. It's all trauma related. So
I feel like today, I feel like in the future, because of the things you're doing now as a parent, as an adult, as a woman of today, and all of the things that are going on in the world. Aiden will be better for it because of the choices that you're choosing to make now.
It'll be worth it.
And the willingness to just hold yourself accountable. At the end of the day, we understand that our parents were doing what they knew back then.
Yeah.
And they could only do with what they were equipped with. Fair.
Yeah.
But I would appreciate it if more parents today, boomers, Gen X, whoever, I'm not asking you to apologize for everything you did, but just take the time to go, you know what? I didn't have all the answers. I did make mistakes, and I'm sorry. That's it. That sentence. That's
literally all it will take. And then also do better in the relationship.
Yeah, try not to repeat the things.
Yeah, don't repeat that,
do the things to the grandchildren that you did to the kids.
Yeah, like if you're doing shit to your grandkids that you were doing to your kids,
But thankfully, we wouldn't let that.
I wouldn't let that. No.
Exactly.
You'll be cut off.
If
Sorry.
I see my mom or whatever doing the thing that they did to me that caused me trauma as an adult today, I'm stepping in.
Yeah, you step in.
But
so just do better, guys, in general, whether you're a parent or an aunt or an uncle. If you know that you hurt someone or your niece, your nephew, your whatever family child came to you and said you hurt me or you put me in danger or you affected, just listen and apologize and wish them well and tell them that your goal is to have a healthy relationship with them and, you're sorry.
And just a smidgen of effort. Goes a long way.
Yeah.
We know that not everybody is going to heal. We know that not everybody's going to fix themselves overnight, but small effort,
little by little,
goes a long way. And showing that you care and you've heard somebody goes a long way. So I think we're going to end it here because
we've gone on for a long time.
We could go all the way left and all the way right. Ultimately, millennials of today, I'm proud of us for healing. Proud of us. I don't have a child yet because I'm trying to heal because I got
deal with your
layers of shit.
Yeah, I agree. Deal with your shit before you bring a little person in here.
Exactly. Yeah. And not to say that anybody is doing it wrong for doing it, however they're doing it. I just know me, I had to deal with some things before I had a kid because I had a lot of stuff going on. And for the parents of tomorrow, I know that you'll be better than even we were. Yeah. And for the parents of yesteryears, we understand. We just want a little bit of acknowledgement. And apologies.
Yep. So on that note,
you gonna say it?
No, you can say it.
If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you were feeling with this conversation. Clearly, we went all over the place, but I feel like you guys are used to it by now. You should be used to it. It was all worth it, and I think this was a deep conversation. So share your thoughts in the comments below, people. Listen on Apple Podcasts. Listen on Spotify, YouTube. We're all over the place. Follow us on Instagram,
Spotify.
TikTok. I said Spotify.
Oh, sorry.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.